Namaste, everyone. Welcome back to the Conscious Society. Today, we are joining with Swati. Namaste, Swati. कैसे हो आप?
Namaste. मैं ठीक हूँ. I'm fine. How are you?
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Swati, I think we got connected on threads and we looped in on Instagram. And, there was a conversation which I felt that you should really be on this podcast today and, share more about yourself, your work, about the chai that I think you are, everyone's fascinated with. And
Yes.
of course, right. So I'll let Swati take over. So Swati is oracle concussions of connection, but I think she would do a better job at explaining that what she does, who she is, rather than me doing it. So Swati, over to you. Please introduce yourself to the guest.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Ronak. I think you almost got it.
Almost.
So yes. So this it's hello everyone. It's 6:11 a.m. in Atlanta, and look. Before I even introduce myself, let me tell you what I do in the morning. A little morning routine. So what I'm holding is earth pottery. I love pottery. It's very very grounding. So I start my day with something grounding, if I don't have time for a long session of meditation and prayers, so just something small, a small sit at my altar. Altar is, for me, everything's like, I'm passionate about everything I do. It's very intentional. And as I've gone deeper in my practices, I think my whole life has been about intentional doing, intentional living. And that has really helped me connect to my true self. And the more I'm connecting to my true self, the more it's like reflecting in my work. And it's kind of showing me how everything is connected. And I'm able to relate to the community better, humanity better. So it's been a wonderful journey. Anyways, coming back to this, so what I'm drinking here is something called a ceremonial cacao, and it is basically cacao powder. I've bought a special one from a tribe which intentionally plants the seeds, hand churns them, and all that. And in this, I've put some ceremonial cacao, maybe like a teaspoon or teaspoon and a half. There's haldi, turmeric, there's nutmeg, there is cinnamon, and there is black pepper, a friend, because black pepper enhances the absorption of turmeric by 1,000 times, which probably we don't know sometimes. But when you drink your haldi milk, your turmeric milk, you gotta add black pepper to it. So that is my tip there, Ayurvedic tip. And yeah, I just put it in oat milk. I love non-dairy beverages. It does not create inflammation in the body in the morning, and I just hand froth it, and I have this lovely beverage. And again, I set an intention because cacao or any beverage holds memory. So you set that beautiful intention and you drink. So that is my work also. So Swati started as an Ayurvedic wellness counselor in 2020. Prior to that, I was in a creative field. I've been an accessory designer, had a silver jewelry company online, and of course, with challenges and where life takes you, I studied Ayurveda deeply in 2020 for a year and a half and graduated as an Ayurvedic wellness counselor from the Kerala Ayurveda Academy. And since then, I've been wanting to create these herbal tinctures and elixirs, and playing with herbs and spices has been my thing. It just brings out my inner child, makes me very, very happy. So I can kind of say that I feel like I am an oracle because I channel these recipes. It's not something that I sit and logically think. It is like I think like, okay, well, what feeling do I want to create when I drink this? And then all these ingredients come together and I create them. And that's how I've created some blends of teas and tisanes. I run an Etsy shop online and also, attend events in the local community to help people heal and connect with themselves through these teas and tisanes. And that's why I don't want to like boxing them in teas and tisanes because I literally want to call them concoctions. Like they are just, I want to keep it very open. You do what you do. There is no rules there.
Hmm.
Yes, I will let you take.
Okay. Interesting journey, Swati. Thank you for sharing that. I think I'll have to fly to Atlanta the next flight and drink this herbal tea. That sounds so fascinating. Thank you. So, what does concussions mean for people are not aware of these terms, or let alone what does oracle mean for people?
Sure, sure. So okay. So oracle is something like this knowing, like you kind of channel from a realm that you're not. That's not very 3D. That's not. That's high. That's from your higher self. Let me put it this way. So the more I've been connecting with my higher self, it's this knowing I have, and it's not in my head. I know it's coming from above. It's divinely guided. So think of it like a messenger, oracle like a messenger. What does God want me to do here on this planet? And concoctions is basically a word that is used for some kind of mix to create a beverage, any mix or any beverage that's concoction.
Okay. So, how about people who do not have access to this recipes or this spices, but still want to elevate themselves,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
And of course, now the food and beverage that we get across the world is not really pure and of that vibrations that we used to get earlier back in the
Yes.
days. So, what are some simple recipes that one can start using, because I have also been using less of milk because of the inflammation and because the research that has been coming out. But what are some simple things that people can start doing that doesn't require much of?
E- okay.
So, what are some simple ingredients or mixtures people can use in their daily life instead of having that concussions?
Hmm. Okay, so the concoctions are definitely a good place. But I know when it comes to Indian population, we're all drinking chai
Yeah,
a lot,
yeah, a
many,
lot.
many times. I used to be there too. हर थोड़े 2 hours में, we want a little shot.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I think the first thing to just even understand that the chai is like this little stimulant. It's
Hmm.
like instant dopamine that
Hmm.
we are giving ourselves. So can we replace that with maybe just, let's say, if you're putting ginger in your chai, and
Hmm.
some lychee or cardamom, maybe just drink that water. Why you
Hmm.
want the stimulant caffeine in there?
Hmm.
Try switch swapping to things like that.
What difference will
Um,
it make if people stop drinking chai? What difference
huh.
will it make in their lives, physically, mentally, and on an energetical level?
Okay, great. So, physically, I think it definitely, like chai has milk, a lot of milk, so
Hmm.
inflammation and all that. Um, Mentally, I think you will understand that you don't need to attach or run to addictives
Hmm.
to feel good or
Yeah.
to wake up. Why do you need that? I would highly recommend breath work. Are you feeling lazy at work? Chalo, let's go for a yogic coffee breath or some like Bhastrika is there. It's
Hmm.
really a breath is always available. In fact, I feel if one person starts, you can bring in a group. It's 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 so magnetic, the energy of breath work. And then when it comes to spiritual or energetic layer, this anxiety we feel, and then we're trying to like actually like, oh, I feel anxiety, but I don't want to feel it. So what do I do? Let me have some chai. No, please feel that anxiety. It's here to, it's a messenger. Feelings are, feelings are so precious. I think they've been messengers for a really long time, and we just push them away or suppress them or
Yeah.
overpower them with
Hmm.
something. So I strongly feel it's gonna really. it's not gonna feel good initially. It's gonna be
Yeah.
like, hello, shadows. And then you'll be like, wow, there's this whole universe
Hmm.
inside. I used to drink chai like 2, 3 times a day,
Hmm.
around say big cups, and
Hmm.
now I've switched to stuff like the ceremonial cacao in the
Hmm.
morning. This, like I said, people, this is 6 a.m. I'm
Yeah.
wide alert, I'm ready. And it's not like I'm crashing in bed at 9. I sometimes sleep at 11 or something. I don't need that much.
Hmm.
The more yogic lifestyle you go towards, you
Yeah.
feel like you literally can beautifully live on breath, pure foods, the water, spices, also like boil water. So this is another concept in America. We Americans want to drink their water really cold, full of ice.
Hmm.
Weather is not for that. Ayurveda is always like you drink your water warm
Hmm.
because there's this Agni fire in
Yes.
our
Yes.
digestive system, and you want to keep that going. So our foods are already saturated with stuff
Yes.
that's not helping. Our thoughts are saturated with things
Very
that
much.
anything is. So, when we are taking in things, we're not just taking in food, we're taking in breath, we're taking in food, air, uh, and, sorry, I mean, breath, air is same thing, food, water, and thoughts, four intakes of
Hmm.
human life, four inputs.
Hmm.
So if you can manage the four inputs well, I think you can very well maintain that balance or equilibrium in your body.
Wonderfully put. Thank you for sharing that. You mentioned something about shadow, and I really want to know because we were having this discussion before starting this. So I have two parts here for you. Ek pehla to shadow, the
Mm.
dark feminine energy that you were explaining to me about, and number two would be you mentioned something about the the feeling, the emotion, the inner voice that it's
Mm-hmm.
always speaking to us.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of
Yes.
suppress the emotions, right? And I think I posted the very similar video on my Instagram yesterday. I think you
Okay.
must have seen that. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was the same thing that there's an inner voice talking to you all the time. But we have been so busy with logic and busy with listening to the outside noises that we kind of numb down the inner voice, the intuition, the higher self talking to us,
Yes.
right? So I have two parts here. One is the shadow. You can just elaborate more on that, dark feminine, and how does one, because most of my listeners are also feminine, though they are women, most of them, and they're also
Okay.
men. So how can those feminine women who are trying to be in their spirit, in their feminine, how can they channel that? Let's start from there, and then we'll go to the intuition
So,
part.
let's see how much I can help. Okay. So, yes, so when I started my journey, I just knew there was a lot of healing that was needed in 2020. I've been facing immense health challenges since 2016, since the birth of my son. Postpartum depression and black spinal surgery in the lower back, and I'm like barely like 30, and what is going on? And it's like back to back, year after year, and then there's this diagnosis of bipolar depression, and I'm like, wow, like life's really hitting me hard. And then I just choose one day. I'm like, I don't think this is the way to live life. I gotta heal something here. And 2020, I had this calling that I want to learn more about holistic practices. And I think with me and the connection with divine, there's this thing when I set an intention, it's like so sincere and pure, like the opportunity just like lands in my lap. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's a good starting point. I'm never lost. Actually, none of us are ever lost or alone in this world. We really need to know that. So the more we connect, the more sincerely we show up, you'll realize like you're always blessed. So 2020, this flyer lands in my email, Ayurvedic course, and I start from there. Anyway, so once I started healing with holistic foods and practices, I started to realize the root of my problem is not in the physical layer. The root of my issues is not even in the mental layer. year by year. I'm like tapping into these layers. I'm like, why do I not still feel good? Life is not in flow state. I still feel all those feelings, like the negative feelings. And interestingly, the more work I did, the stronger the feelings got. And I was like, is this really working? You
What
know?
kind of work did you do?
So, like, again, like the holistic practices, as I started doing some meditation, Ayurvedic lifestyle, and I'm like, I'm still gaining weight. Because I was on these antidepressants, right? So I'm like, I'm doing everything that's right. That's right, you know, technically right. But why is it not working? And and that's when I discovered the practice of so I was doing yoga. The interesting thing of yoga was I didn't realize how much this ADHD element I had created in my body. So we can do that. We can kind of create or subconsciously create conditions in our body because our body is trying to cope with what the environment within. So there's this toxic environment within my body, and I suddenly create this ADHD kind of a condition. So I'm hyper, I'm all over the place. I can't make clear decisions. And a lot of realization comes when you're literally at your lowest point. You're like, I've done everything and nothing's working. And now I feel like, God, literally surrender. Please take me, kind of a situation. So that's when I found Tai Chi, the practice of Tai Chi. It is a Chinese Eastern practice, and it works with energy management. So I've been in Tai Chi for almost 2 years now. The first year was very, very hard because I think every class I went, I was in tears or pain or not breaking through the physical layer till at the beginning of this year. There were big breakthroughs that happened. And finally, I was like, oh, the master tells me when we move our hands like this, we feel energy. Okay, I do feel energy now. So slowly, slowly building that up. So honestly, all my healing is through energy work. And that's when I really, really tapped into the root issues. And of course, what came up was the subconscious mind. Oh man, I came in with a lot of conditioning, a lot of attachments. So a 90% of a life runs on subconscious mind, and we don't even realize that. So I came in with this lot of attachments like low self-worth, um, invalidation, looking for validation outside. Uh, that's why I can't make clear decisions. I don't believe in myself and not feeling loved. So I've been very, very blessed to have resources also, and also these right connections coming in at the right time, talking to the right people, the right coaches, right guides in the yogic field, in the Ayurvedic field, who have helped me get through a lot of trauma I was holding in my body. And it was mental, sexual, yeah. Uh, and when you start doing the trauma work, like when I started doing the trauma work, that's when all the shadows come up, the shadows we've been talking about. So coming to shadows. So what are these shadows? These shadows are basically a part of your true self. Our soul is, it's like there's like dark and light in us. So the light parts or the beautiful parts we wanting to show, right? Always wanting to show like, okay, Swati's compassionate, Swati's giving, Swati's kind. Swati always speaks the truth. Or Swati's always honest. Let me put it this way, not even speaks the truth. Swati's always honest. But what I'm not showing is sometimes Swati wants to say no. Is she setting boundaries? Swati wants to speak the truth, not what people want to hear and get pleased with. Is she doing that? No. Uh, Swati's being a nice girl. I'm nice, but I suppressed everything that I wanted. And suddenly the shadow comes up like, voila, like this is who you are also. And you're like, whoa, I've not seen you before. So you get a shock of your life. You're like, wow. Like, And there's this identity crisis you might go through. There is this delusion you'll go through. You're like, who am I? What is this? You will not want to see it. You will want to push it down. But that's the time when you're like, you heard the phrase, feel it to heal it. That's what the shadow work's wanting. So I think now I've come to a point where it's like you I gotta practice a lot of emotional detachment to own all those parts of myself, the light and the dark. And then comes the stage of integration, like how do I move with these two together and become one entity again? So it's a lifelong journey. It's not a one day situation. But like, yeah, when it comes to like dark feminine, as we're going to speak to our uh, feminine viewers, dark feminine is extremely mysterious. That's what I've So when I've been in this shadow self a lot, I've been to myself. I've been in this hermit mode, but I've been like creating what I want to create and focus on myself in a lot of like silence. So
What's
it's
the hermit mode?
hermit mode. Hermit mode is a space that you will eventually go in when you look at all your shadows and you're like, yes, I'm ready to do the work. But you will not be able to integrate with the world outside, even your family, your best friends. आप नहीं connect कर पाओगे. You won't want any connection
So do
because you
you
only
mean to say vanvas?
kind of वनवास
Yes, yes.
लेकिन sitting in your environment.
Yeah, yeah. But बाकी सबसे वनवास from phone, from everything. More like Vipassana, more like vanvas. Just you
Similar.
and yourself.
Just you and yourself and आपका connection बनेगा with the
The
divine.
divine. Yeah.
आपको वो
Interesting.
connection बनाना है. Because divine का plan है ये to isolate you कि वो कनेक्शन बन जाए एंड नाउ व्हेन यू गो आउट यू नो आप लॉजिक से नहीं सोचोगे यार आपको आपके देख ना ताइची प्रैक्टिस वी कॉल दिस अ dungeon our पावर हाउस इट्स
Hmm.
लाइक राइट 2 inches below our navel आपको यहाँ
Hmm.
से वो कनेक्शन फील होगा जहाँ
That's
से
where
हम
the golden prana is, right? That's where the
यस
golden chi is stored.
यस जहाँ से हम
Hmm.
वी वर कनेक्टेड टू द umbilical cord
Yeah.
हम कहाँ से इस वर्ल्ड में वहां पे दिस कनेक्ट यू नीड टू फील दैट
Hmm.
that grounding. So anyway, so yes, so basically, this dark feminine is gonna be very mysterious. She's gonna be sexual. She's gonna be bold, fiery. Because she is like the go-getter. It's not a proving energy, but it's like I have appeared and I occupy space. And she is so set in herself ki, matlab, you can't miss her. But she's not going to be looking, or she is going to be very magnetizing. So that kind of energy, like being very confident and bold and assertive in what you do. But उस place पे पहुंचने के लिए you gotta be like, यार मेरी वो shadows हैं and I accept all of them. जैसे, I've always been this real nice, nurturing person, and that's how Heartfelt Ayurveda was born. That's my Instagram, that's my brand, you can say, Heartfelt Ayurveda. That's my Etsy shop. But when my dark feminine came out, I was like, okay, so I'm wild too. Great. That I love it. Actually, now Pele, I was very like, wow, that's me. But now I love it. I'm like, why can't you be both? Isn't that spirituality? Like accepting all of you and just showing up as who you are.
So if someone on this journey of knowing their different parts,
Mm-hmm.
because we are not just light, we are not just love, we are not just power, we are the integration of light, love, and power.
Mm-hmm.
So how does someone collect these parts जो बिखरा हुआ है, and how do they join themselves, like piece of a puzzle? Because
Mm-hmm.
as we go throughout the life, society, and upbringing, we lose the parts of us outside. So
Mm-hmm.
how does one collect this piece and make themselves?
That's a beautiful, beautiful question. That's why there are many practices. And also, आप जो कह रहे हो, it's sort of like a soul retrieval.
Hmm.
Because हम जब भी whenever we interact with different people and we give our power away, we actually giving a small piece of our soul
Yes.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
तो सारा soul retrieval करना पड़ता है energetic work के through. You
Yes.
gotta gain your power back every day
Yeah. Yeah.
from all the rims and pieces,
And I
places and
think most
experiences.
people, how I see today's society, where it's heading,
हाँ.
very few people who gave it all up, now they are kind of restoring it back. And
Mhm.
people who are not aware, maybe they were just going through life, they are
Mhm.
still giving their pieces to the world, thinking that this will make me a good person, a nice person, a respectable person, you know.
Yes.
So I see
Yes.
so I was talking to one of this lady on our show. So she said that there's a divide happening in society, and I pretty much see that the same way. No matter
Yes.
wherever you are in the part of the world, Indian, Australian, African, doesn't make a difference.
Hmm.
There's a huge divide. People on this side who are waking up to the truth, who are waking up to all the those things that are happening in this matrix, and there's
Hmm.
the other side which are getting stuck, even stuck in that matrix, going
Hmm.
deeper.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yes. I
know.
agree. Yes. 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 And again, not saying this in a derogatory way, but like I also see those are the people who've come to me for solutions and they've not practiced any. मतलब मुझसे वो कभी ये भी पूछना है ना कि ड्राई स्किन के लिए क्या करना है ना I've given them oil हाथ में भी थमाया है ना तो यूज नहीं किया है.
Yeah, and that's so true. That's when I've understood and realized at this point of becoming a coach and a healer to so many people that you cannot change anyone, you cannot do anything for them. At this
Right.
point, I would let them suffer, I would let them the way they are, not wishing ill for them, but
Mm-hmm.
having that compassion, but still saying मैं नहीं कुछ कर पाऊंगा, आप ही को करना है.
Right, right. And that alone in itself is divinity. You cannot go
Yes.
and control someone's journey.
Yeah, I mean, God didn't come here and try to change, or try to provoke change on us. He just let us be. He just sent few experiences, lessons for us through
Right,
various forms, and that it depends on us how we take those lessons, how do we understand, reflect upon those lessons, and change
right,
ourselves.
right. No, I absolutely agree. And like you said about the soul retrieval practices, so you just सारे pieces बिखरे हैं, how do we get them together? For me, some profound practices again have been yes, yes, yes to meditation, breath work, Tai Chi energy movement, and journaling has been huge. Uh, for me, cooking, gardening, the grounding activities have been very, very connecting. Music, dancing. So whatever speaks to you, whatever, wherever you feel, I think you'll feel it. You will feel it कि ये मेरे को, this particular activity is bringing me in my grounding state or dhanjan, then you know you're in the right place. And it's also important to understand that you can, you should be okay doing this by yourself because ये codependent patterns भी हमें
Yeah.
बहुत देख. I can't go to a restaurant या मैं कहीं जा नहीं सकती because कोई और नहीं जा रहा. अरे यार, why do you need someone?
Yeah.
If you want to treat yourself, go for it.
Yeah, I think we all have been grown up in mostly Indian household, uh, having that codependency, that joint family thing, and a lot of people pleasing nature. Plus, there's always a plus one, plus two, plus three. You can't go stag.
Yes.
There's no stag in Indian household. I think that's why uh, most of my friends who are Westerners, they are kind of very by themselves. That's a good thing. But at the same time, I also feel that family is required. Doesn't have to
Mhm.
be a bloodline,
Yes.
but it
Yes.
could be a soul family, could be,
Yes.
you know, there's a lot of connection with the soul. Could not be a bloodline at all.
Yes. Yes.
But having that community, having that sense of brotherhood or sisterhood, I think is required pretty much in today's times.
Yes, yes. So they call it like the collective consciousness. Yes.
Yeah.
we need that. I think also this is a very important point because as you go through the healing journey, वो hermit mode जब आता है, you feel like I don't need anyone.
Hmm.
But these are all phases. Accept. You know, they always say जो हो रहा है ना उसको accept करो. जैसे little child accepts candy, a piece of candy, वो accept कर लेता है उसको. No judgments. वैसे आप accept करो whatever's happening in your life. And that alone in itself is next steps to healing. Healing is available to anyone, anytime. It's only a choice away.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's choice on when do you want to change.
Yes.
Now, because you have been getting those insights from your higher self that change now, the inner voice is talking to you, but you have been so busy with that radio in your head, you are just not listening to the inner radio, but the mental chatter all throughout. So
Yes.
lovely, lovely. Thank you for sharing that. So the last thing before we wrap up, so I think we touched upon a lot of things, and I want to go deeper on where do you see the collective consciousness is going, and
Mm.
the people who are still not uh, अब तक वो जगह नहीं है for the truth, they are still not there, and they're still listening to the outside voice but never taking a step inside. What would happen to their lives if they do not do the mandatory
Yes.
that's for the higher soul? What
Yes.
would happen?
Yes. So, जैसे, we say in our Hinduism, bhai, that's dangerous cycle of samsara continues. So
Yes.
we know what's gonna happen. They're coming back again and
Yeah.
again and
Yeah.
again. And so, तो अब वो focus भी, I really don't like. I do my part, and I think if you are elevated or you are elevating, what all you can do is role model. तो आपका काम है टू रोल मॉडल कि हम ऐसे बेटर हो सकते हैं, हम इसको ऐसे हायर सेल से कनेक्ट करके वी कैन डू थिंग्स. Okay, so in Hinduism they say the dangerous cycle of samsara. So we know what's going to happen to people who have not yet awakened. They're going to come back and keep coming back till they take the calling. Um, and as far as when the people who are awakening, just people who are in transition, we've called them 4D, 5D consciousness and above. So our work is to focus on ourselves and role model where New Earth is, what is elevated consciousness. Our work is not to go and control someone who's not awakened. जैसे वो कहते हैं ना, I'll say this in Hindi, कोई कंबल में सो रहा है and उसको बोलो यार जिम चलो, it's fun. Yeah, let's go for a walk. वो कंबल is good, I'm enjoying the blind. They don't know. आप किसको कंट्रोल कर रहे हो? बट योर जॉब इज आप जाके यू गो एंड रोल मॉडल इट कि दिस इज व्हाट कैन हैपन इफ आई डू एक्स वाई जी.
Yeah, meaning you do your duty and the other
Yes.
person will follow, will get influenced by your radiations if he or
Correct.
she is ready.
Correct. If they're ready. So our work is just to focus on ourselves. They always say, spiritual people stay in their lane. So just keep working on yourself.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you, Swati. I had a real good time talking to you.
Thank you. Same here. Same here. And just sending a lot of warmth and blessings to our viewers and everyone who's listening. I hope you can take out some nuggets from here, from Ronak's
Absolutely,
wisdom and my know-how.
absolutely. How does people connect to you if they are flying to Atlanta? How can they buy the tea?
Oh, yes. So the tea is always available on Etsy shop. So the link is heartfelt Ayurveda dot, I think
Yeah, so
Etsy dot.
I'll just link your Instagram
Yeah.
in the description below.
I think that'll
People
be
who
perfect.
are ready will people who are ready again will obviously reach out and will
Definitely.
follow your journey. Any
Definitely.
final closing thoughts that you would want people to?
Uh,
be with?
I can just talk about heartfelt Ayurveda. I think that's really what's coming. So, when you see my shop, and if you see my logo, it's this beautiful teapot. It's like an earthen Asian teapot, and उसमें से चाय गिर रही है, and bottom में there's these rose petals and cardamom, and it was hand painted by a friend who only works with people जिससे वो she can resonate with. So it's a very beautiful thing we created, and it kind of shows how you can create beauty from adversity.
Wow.
And that's pretty much my life.
Beauty from adversity. I like that.
So heartfelt Ayurveda is all about that. Tabhi, I've kind of renamed it to concoctions of connection because we're like, oh, that's that part of me is ugly. There is nothing ugly. Aapke everything's so pretty about you. You're divinely created.
Yeah. I think in the eyes of God, we are all perfect.
Yes, the fact that you are here, you're already worth it.
Hmm.
That's why you're here. So वो value ढूंढने में मुझे बहुत time लग गया था भाई. And I was connecting it to finances, this, that, rewards, ये वो नहीं यार, बस मैं यहाँ हूँ and मेरे को खाना है. I have love around me, within me, and I think that in itself is like a blessing, a blessing. Yes. So
Awesome.
yes, just keep holding on to that. I think if we can just lead our lives, I think the world will be much more magical, beautiful
Yes.
place.
Yes. Awesome. So, Swati, thank you so much for being there and holding the space for us, for the viewers. I look forward to our conversations happening soon. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Ronak. Thank you for having me. Gratitude.
Thank you. All right, guys, this is it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Namaste.